Hey YouTube, back with another predictions video for this Saturday's UFC Fight Night Hunt versus Mir. And let's get right to the predictions. So first is Alan Patrick versus Damian Brown. I'm going with Alan Patrick. I think he looked good in the octagon his first two UFC fights, but had a setback against Mairbek Tasimov. I think he'll come back with a win. And, yeah. Next is Ross Pearson and Chad Laprise. I gotta go with Ross Pearson. He's had a lot of experience in the octagon. I think he's able to pull off a victory over Chad Laprise. Now on to the FS1 prelims. Rich Walsh versus Viscardi Andrade. I gotta go with Viscardi Andrade. He has that big right hand. I think it's his right hand that he can really knock people out with. So I think he'll get a finish in this fight. And next is Leslie Smith versus Rin Nakai. I gotta go with Leslie Smith. I know she's coming off a little bit of a layoff. Both women are. But I think she's gonna get a victory and to avenge that loss from that the ear explosion that she had. Next is Dan Hooker versus Mark Adiva. I gotta go with Dan Hooker. I think he had a tough fight with Yair Rodriguez. Thought he fought well against Yair. He has such a tough style. I think Dan fought well, and I think Dan will win this fight. And the featured bout is Brendan O'Reilly versus Alan Jouban. I gotta go with Alan Jouban. He's coming off that loss to Albert Tumanov. Think he can get back on track with a good win over Brendan O'Reilly. Now on to the main card. Bec Rawlings versus Sohee Ham. I gotta go with Sohee Ham. She's a good fighter. She lost her debut to Joanne Calderwood, came back and beat Courtney Casey. So I think that she'll get a win over Bec Rawlings. Next is James Tahuna versus Steve Bossy. I gotta go with James Tahuna, coming off a little bit of a layoff. Last fight was that disappointing loss for him to Nate Marquardt in his home country where he's born. So I think he'll get a good win here. Next is Daniel Kelly and Antonio Carlos Jr. I gotta go with Antonio Carlos Jr. He's I think big for the weight class. He's been up at light heavyweight and heavyweight. I say he takes the win over Dan Kelly. Next is Jake Matthews versus Johnny Case. Both guys are tough. Both guys are young. But I gotta go with Johnny Case. He's had some good wins in the octagon, and I feel like a win over Jake Matthews would be a pretty big win for him. Next is the co-main event: Hector Lombard and Neil Magny. I gotta go with Neil Magny. I think that he has good punches. He's got a big reach advantage on Hector, so I think he'll be able to use those punches and jabs and outscore Hector, and I think he could get a decision win here. And I was pretty surprised when he defeated Kelvin Gastelum the way he did. I think he'll get another big victory over Hector. The main event: Mark Hunt and Frank Mir. I gotta go with Mark Hunt. I know Frank Mir has ways to win as well, but I gotta say Mark Hunt gets it done with a knockout. I'd like to see him knock out Frank Mir, honestly. Alright, that's it for my UFC Fight Night predictions for this Saturday. And tune in to UFC Fight Night this Saturday. Alright, bye.